Hey everyone, it's Alexandra and welcome back to another video. I'm so proud of myself. This is the third video this month that I've done for you guys. But this time I am back with my June plan with me, and it's crazy to think that we're already halfway through 2019. It's pretty bizarre to me, but I'm taking it in stride. So before we get to the planning, I just want to give you a little run through of the pages that we're going to be doing for this June plan with me and the supplies that I'll be using. If you saw my 5th bullet journal setup, you will know that I did an orchid theme all throughout the pages. So I'm going to continue that orchid theme into June. I'm so in love with the colors. So I want to bring that into June and just make it really just like a different take. I know everybody expects like a summer theme, but I kind of wanted to do something that was speaking to me at the moment, and I really feel like the colors are bright and cheerful, so why not? So we're going to be doing the cover page, the monthly, which is a little twist on it, mood tracker, memories, gratitude, and affirmations page, which is a little different. I'm going to do a vertical Dutch door this month, and I'll show you the whole process of that. And then I'm going to do my taking stock page and the My Doodle 9 challenge I'm going to be doing again, hosted by Doodle Day Darlings. I haven't done this challenge since January, and now that things have calmed down a bit, I want to kind of get back into the doodling, and it's only 9 prompts, so it's not going to be that time consuming. So for June, I'm going to go with a block lettering and the orchids, of course. So the supplies that I'm going to be using are, of course, my Tombow dual brush markers in the this like lavender in 673, this beautiful yellow in 991 that you see here, and the pale pink in 800. And then I'm going to be using my, here we go, the Tombow, this is the Fudenosuke pen, calligraphy pen. So I'm going to be using this pen for the block lettering. And then my favorite pastels I've been experiencing a little bit of a feathering with them. They haven't been writing very well. I think it's because it's near the end of the pen, like the tip wears down. So what I'm going to be using, I had this Copic Multiliner in the 0.1 size, so I'm going to use it for the finer lines. It's been writing really well and I'm impressed with it. I just had it lying around and I started using it and I really like it. So I'm going to use that for the finer lines with the orchids. And then I'm going to go back to I think this is my all-time favorite, the Tombow mono drawing pen in the 03 size for the thicker lines. So there's a lot in this video, and I'm very, very excited to share with you all the wonderful spreads. And let's get planning. So first up, obviously, is the cover page. And for this month, I decided to do a block lettering, which I've never really done in my bullet journal before. And like the idea just sprung up in my head. So I just went with it. So I'm using my Tombow Fudenosuke calligraphy pen to outline and color in the lettering. I would normally use a dual brush marker, but because the Fudenosuke is more of an archival ink, I know that if water spills on it or whatever, I won't have to worry about it really smudging as much. So I did the block lettering, and then if you saw my 5th bullet journal setup, you'll know the technique by now as far as how I draw out the orchids. I use the thicker of the pen, in this case the Tombow mono drawing pen in the 3 size, and I outline the flowers. Then I take the yellow marker and I color in the center of the flowers. I then go back in with the lighter of the pink in the 800 to color in the inner portion of the, the outer portion of the petals and the outline. And then I use the darker pink lavender in the 673 to color in the inner portion. And I do some blending to make it a little more realistic. And then finally, I take the thinner of the pens with the thinner nib, and then I put in the finishing touches with some very fine lines for the details of the petals, and that's what really honestly makes the flowers come to life and really just elevate the look of it. And I'm really, really happy at how this came out overall. So next up we have the monthly setup, and this has to be, I think, my most extravagant, if you will, of monthly setups, because what I decided to do here is not just make it, your standard calendar, but I decided to do a Dutch door in the middle. So I reserved a page in between the beginning and the end of the calendar. So I have one right in the middle that I did all in orchids, and that's going to be in the center of my 2-page spread, where I'm going to put all of my goals or things that I want to get done for the month of June. Just to, I don't know, maybe just to experiment and see if I liked it. So as you can see here, I go crazy with drawing up the orchids, and I leave a little bit of a portion on the right hand side of the page, and I just kind of cut where the end of the flowers are. So you'll see what I mean. See, I'm cutting it, and then you're going to see the second half of the calendar kind of like peek through that page. I just thought this was a really fun take on your traditional monthly setup. And I really, really like how this came out. I also added on the second half of the calendar spread a nice quote which says, "Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace," which I thought was very, very fitting given the theme. And then in addition to obviously drawing up all the boxes, I go back with the lavender in the 673, and I do a drop shadow on all of the calendar boxes and for all of the block lettering, just to kind of like make it pop out more. And I did that with the rest of my not collection pages, my monthly pages for June. Overall, I really, really liked how this turned out, and I'm excited to use it. So next up, I have my mood tracker and my memories page. And as you know, I love experimenting with my mood tracker. So what I decided to do here was take one orchid and have 5 petals and divide those up into 6 parts. So you have the 30 days of June. So then I can track all of my moods. And then I have my simple memories page where I'll track everything as the month goes on. So very simple and to the point, and I can't wait to see how my mood tracker looks at the end of the month. Next up is my gratitude page and my affirmations page. This is the first time I'm doing anything like that. As far as affirmations go, there is a book that I will link in my supplies in my Amazon shop so you guys can check out. But basically, it's a book that for each day gives you a certain affirmation to focus on if you're into positive thinking and the law of attraction. So each day I'm just going to write down what the affirmation says and just kind of focus on it. And I figured this was very fitting to put alongside with my gratitude page. So again, this is very, very simple. 30 lines straight down on each side. I highlight every other line with the lavender color in 673, and I kept it very, very simple, but this is just a place for, my mental health and positive thinking. And I really hope that the affirmations page especially is something that I can carry on from month to month. So I'm really looking forward to if it works or not, and seeing and experimenting as far as what the end result will be. So next up, I'm going to show you how I set up my vertical Dutch door setup for June. And this is where all of my weeklies are going to go. And I'm going to show you also how I set up for the first week of June. So basically, standard practice for me when doing the vertical Dutch door is that I will do a mini calendar up in the upper left-hand corner along with a little to-do list. And then on the bottom, I'm going to have a little doodle of 2 orchids. Then I'm going to I count 10 dots in on either side. So that leaves me enough room for my weeklies. Once I break up the boxes and stuff, it's more than enough room for me. On the other side, I track the weather. And you could track whatever you want if you decide to do a vertical Dutch door. But I'm a little bit of a weather nerd, and I don't know, I like going back and seeing what the weather was like. It's just a weird thing that I have. But and when it is a month that has 30 days, it works out really nicely because you have 10 rows of 3 boxes across, so it works out really nicely. And then as far as the first weekly of June goes, I did a very standard 8-box spread 7 days of the week. And then I also like to track my meals, my dinners especially, and what I cook, just so I know there's like not as much repetition or what have you. So, and I do like more like a color block look for the first week of June. And then as the weeks go on, I'll try and vary up the layouts ever so slightly, but of course, always using the theme's colors to make it look consistent. And last but not least, I have my taking stock page, which is basically a monthly check-in of what I'm into at the moment, what I'm reading, what I'm eating, how I'm feeling, any, celebrations, things like that. So this is something that I've been doing now for like almost like the past year. And I really like a place where I could just check in on my thoughts and like what I'm doing. And it's nice to look back on, kind of like a snapshot of what's going on in my life. And then on the opposite page, I am setting up my My Doodle 9 challenge page. It's hosted by Doodle Day Darlings, and it's a great challenge because it's not very time consuming because it's only 9 prompts. And if you follow the hashtag, you basically pick 8 doodles and you doodle them based on, different accounts on Instagram and who's participating. And then the doodle that you contribute goes in the center box. And when you post, other people can then maybe use your doodle in their Doodle 9 challenge. So it's a really fun challenge that brings the bullet journal community together. And so I haven't done this since January, and I'm really looking forward to participating again and getting back into doodling somewhat. And here is the final flip through of all of my June pages. This was such a fun one to do. And I love the juxtaposition between like the feminine floral and the block lettering. I just think it really came together really nicely. I experimented with new lettering, which I haven't done. So I'm really excited to use this in my new bullet journal for June. And as the month progresses, I will show you the rest of my Dutch door layouts for my weekly. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful month of June, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.